Hey guys, tonight we're going to slow things down and sit with a story that matters. This is the story of Ruthie Bell, a woman in her 70s, quiet, graceful, and seemingly out of place, who walked into a room full of youth power and pride and reminded everyone what real strength looks like. Before we begin, please like the video and subscribe, but only if stories like this truly move you. Comment your city and the time you're watching. Now close your eyes or don't, it's your choice. Either way, you're about to witness something real. The Pine Grove Community Center hums with motion on a typical Wednesday evening. Fluorescent lights buzz faintly overhead, reflecting off the polished gym floor. The air is thick with effort sneakers, squeaking belts, snapping, and instructors calling out combinations in rapid-fire rhythm. A martial arts class is in full swing. Young adults, mostly in their 20s, move with coordinated precision, dressed in white GIs and colored belts that tell their rank. They punch, block, and pivot with practiced flair. The energy is loud, physical, a kind of casual intensity that belongs to people who haven't had to prove anything yet, at least not off the mat. The glass door opens with a soft whoosh. Ruthie Bell steps inside. She doesn't make a scene. She doesn't have to. She walks in slow, steady, and invisible. At least that's how it seems. Nobody turns, nobody pauses. She could be a janitor, a visiting grandma, or someone looking for the bingo room down the hall. She carries a faded gym bag in one hand and a folded registration slip in the other. Her floral headscarf is tied neatly, silver curls tucked beneath it. Her windbreaker is zipped all the way to the top. And her white sneakers, slightly worn, slightly squeaky, announce her presence only to the floor. She walks toward the table near the check-in sheet and signs her name, Ruthie Bell, in tiny cursive. Next to it, she writes the class Intermediate Karate, Wednesdays, 6:15 p.m. The volunteer at the table, a teenager half looking at her phone, glances up and does a double take. "You here for the class?" the girl asks. Ruthie nods. A pause. Then the girl hands her a waiver. "Cool, just warm up by the mirrors." Ruthie thanks her softly and heads toward the sidewall. The gym isn't quiet, but pockets of awareness start to form. People notice her, just barely, not fully, but enough. The lead instructor, Marco, mid-30s with a sharp beard and booming voice, spots her briefly from across the room. He squints as if trying to remember if he's seen her before, then shrugs. Probably someone's aunt. He claps his hand sharply. "Next drill partner stance work. Let's go." Meanwhile, Ruthie sets her bag down quietly on the bench. She pulls off her windbreaker, revealing a simple gray t-shirt and loose black pants. No GI, no belt. She stretches slowly, shoulders first, then her neck, then wrists, controlled circles. Intentional movement. Nothing flashy, nothing for show. That's when the snickering starts. Near the front row, Caleb Moreno nudges his buddy and whispers something under his breath. 19 years old, brown belt lean, with too much swagger and not enough humility. "You think she's here to pick someone up?" He chuckles. Maybe her grandkid forgot his lunchbox. The other boy laughs, not loud, but enough. Others pick up on it. Ruthie doesn't turn around. She's doing toe touches now. Her spine folds down slowly, evenly, and she holds the stretch. Her breathing is steady, calm. Marco calls out again. "Next round, let's rotate partners." Students shuffle across the mat, switching positions. A few end up partnerless, including Ruthie, who still stands quietly at the edge. She doesn't ask. She doesn't move forward. Not yet. Marco spots her again, this time walking over. "Ma'am, you here to see someone?" His voice is loud but trying to stay polite. Ruthie meets his eyes. "I'm here for class." He raises an eyebrow. "This is intermediate level. I saw that on the schedule." "You've trained before some," she says. "It's been a while." He hesitates, unsure. There's an awkward pause. Caleb is watching, arms crossed, smirk rising again. "You got gear?" Marco asks. "Just me," she replies, her voice calm. "Thought I'd see how you run things first." Marco's trying to be kind, but his tone leans patronizing without meaning to. "All right, well, you can shadow along today. We're doing stance flow drills, then sparring drills. Just follow as best you can." "I will," Ruthie says. She takes her place at the far edge of the mat, alone mirroring the movements from afar. And though no one knows it yet, every stretch, every stance, every slow, deliberate movement has been earned through decades of trial training and real-world pain. She doesn't need to prove herself, not yet, but not everything stays buried forever. Across the room, Caleb snorts. Man, if she bends over too far, we're gonna have to call 911. Ruthie hears it. Her face doesn't change. She simply shifts her weight, repositions her feet, and continues. One of the younger instructors, maybe early 20s, sees the tension. He walks over during water break, crouching near her. Need help with the warm-ups, ma'am? Some of these can be tough on joints. She looks at him. You ever done a side kick from crane stance after 12 hours on a trauma floor? He blinks. No. She nods. Didn't think so. He stands quietly and walks off. The class resumes. Ruthie moves alone, steady. No fanfare. But someone is watching now. Not everyone. Just a few. They're not sure what they're seeing yet. But the questions have started, and questions don't go back in the bottle once asked. The second round of drills rolls in with more force than finesse. The younger students are buzzing now, tired legs loose, form louder chatter. A few glance over at Ruthie between drills, some curious others still entertained. She moves without hurrying, always half a breath slower than the rest, not from lack of skill, but from a kind of patience that unnerves people used to showing off. Caleb Moreno doesn't like being ignored. And right now, Ruthie's refusal to engage, to take the bait, to defend herself against his digs, it's doing something worse than arguing would. It's making him feel small. And when young pride feels cornered, it usually doesn't get quieter. During the next transition, Marco claps twice. Partner sparring, light contact. Focus on timing, not power. Let's go. Everyone begins pairing up. Caleb stands near the center, arms out wide, scanning like he's above it all. A younger girl, maybe 16 greenbelt, offers to pair with him. He waves her off with a cocky grin. Nah, I ain't hitting a kid. His eyes flick to Ruthie, who's now kneeling on one knee adjusting her laces. Maybe Grandma wants a go. The girl giggles. Ruthie rises to her feet. Marco notices the lingering and calls out, if you don't have a partner, just shadow along, but Ruthie steps forward calmly. I'll go with him. The room stirs. Caleb tilts his head. You sure I might break your hip? Her response is dry, almost bored. Try. The mood shifts slightly but unmistakably. The chuckles stop short. A couple students exchange wide eyes. Even Marco hesitates. You okay with that? Ruthie just light drills, no contact. I understand, she says. I can keep up. Caleb shrugs and saunters into position. Loose stance, swagger intact. He's not taking this seriously. His shoulders roll lazily. He doesn't bow, just nods like it's a joke. Marco gives the count. Ready? Begin. Caleb steps in with a slow jab. A tester, soft enough to signal playfulness but with a bit of sting. Ruthie doesn't react. She shifts slightly, evading with a turn of her foot. Second move. He sweeps his leg low, half-hearted, teasing again. She pivots cleanly out of reach. Caleb smirks. You gonna move or just nap? And then it happens. No warning, no build-up. Just a smooth, sudden movement, a shift in her hips, a plant of the back foot, a hook of the leg, and Caleb is airborne for half a second and then flat on his back on the mat. The room gasps. It's not loud, but it echoes in its silence. The kind of silence that's louder than laughter ever was. Caleb blinks up at the ceiling. He scrambles upright, face flushed. You got lucky, he mutters. Ruthie doesn't flinch. You got careless. Marco's mouth hangs open a beat too long before he snaps back into instructor mode. Okay, switch sides. Light contact only. They square up again. Caleb's grin is gone. He's tense now. The energy is different. He lunges in with a quicker jab closer to actual effort. Ruthie steps into the strike, not away from it, and redirects his arm with an elbow parry, then uses her other foot to gently sweep his stance again. Not a throw, just enough imbalance to make him stumble. He stutters back a few steps, arms flailing to catch himself. No way, someone whispers. A boy near the back mutters, What style is that? But Ruthie doesn't answer. The drill ends. Marco claps and calls for a water break. Caleb storms off toward the bleachers, snatching his bottle like it insulted them. He paces, trying to shake off the stares. But they're not laughing anymore. That's what stings most. He glares across the mat. Ruthie isn't looking at him. She's calmly rolling her shoulders near the mirror again, as if nothing happened, as if this wasn't the most humiliating moment he's had in a long time. He walks over, voice low, still pretending to be unfazed. You choreograph that, or you just like embarrassing people. She doesn't turn. I told you. Try. He scoffs. You fight like you think you invented the place. Finally, she turns her head. No, I fight like someone who doesn't need to. And just like that, he's dismissed, with fewer words than he's used to, less force than he understands. Back across the room, the others are whispering, not giggling, and wondering where she trained, how long she's been doing this, and how they didn't see it coming. But that's the thing about real skill. It doesn't need to be announced. It's content to wait, to watch, to listen. And when it only moves with purpose. Still, Caleb isn't done. Not yet. And neither is the lesson. But not everything stays buried forever. The gym is quieter now, but not because the class is over. It's that peculiar kind of quiet that settles when something shifts, when a group of people realizes they just saw something they didn't understand and maybe can't explain. Ruthie sits near the sidewall, sipping from a dented aluminum water bottle. Her breathing is calm, steady, her gaze distant. She isn't basking in the moment, and she hasn't cracked a smile. She's simply present, letting her body cool, her mind stay clear. If she's tired, no one can tell. Caleb, still pacing nearby, keeps casting glances her way. Whatever performance he had in mind for the night has unraveled. He hasn't spoken since their brief exchange, but he hasn't sat still either. His silence now feels different, not like superiority, but like uncertainty. He's not used to it. Near the bench, a student named Brianna approaches Ruthie cautiously. She's in her late teens, lean with a green belt knotted tightly at her waist. Her hair is in box braids, pulled back under a bandana, her tone respectful but curious. Excuse me, she says gently. Ma'am, that sweep. Was that Shotokan? Ruthie looks at her. There's a warmth behind her eyes finally surfacing. Close. Goju Ryu, a soft variation. Brianna nods, impressed. I'm still new. Been coming about a year. Ruthie offers a small smile. You're doing just fine, baby. From across the room, someone mutters, probably just watched it on YouTube. Another boy laughs quietly. Ruthie hears it. She always hears it, but she lets it pass. She's been through worse than heckling. Marco walks over with a towel in one hand, trying to hide how impressed he is. I've seen people try to come in here and show off, he says. But what you did, that was something else, Ruthie nods. It wasn't about showing off, he lowers his voice slightly. Then what brought you in tonight? She exhales slowly, folding the towel over her knee. To remember what she doesn't answer right away. She looks around the gym at the mirrors, the mats, the tape on the floor that's worn from years of training, shoes gliding over it. And then she speaks, not loudly, not for effect, but from a place that matters. That I'm still here. That I still know who I am, even if the world keeps trying to tell me I'm not. A hush falls around her. It's not the whole class, but more students are listening now. Phones are pocketed, side talk fades. Ruthie continues, her voice gentle but strong. I took care of my husband for 6 years. Parkinson's. He was my sparring partner back when my knees didn't creak. The strongest man I ever knew. When he passed, the world didn't stop. But I did. I stopped moving, stopped training, started working nights again, just trying to keep the lights on. Marco listens closely, arms crossed, unsure whether to respond or just absorb. For 12 years, I didn't touch a mat, didn't put my hands up, didn't throw a single punch. Every morning I woke up and looked in the mirror and didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't hear applause, didn't win any belts. I just showed up for everybody else. She pauses, not for effect, just because the memory needs space. And one day she says, I heard this little voice, maybe my own, maybe his, say, you still got fight left, even if the only person you prove it to is yourself. So I came back. And tonight I laced up. Marco shifts slightly, looking down at his shoes. You didn't just lace up, you changed the whole room. Ruthie chuckles quietly. I didn't come here to change anything. I just wanted to see if my body still remembered what my soul never forgot. The words hang there, slow and soft. Then from the other end of the mat, Caleb steps forward. He's hesitant, not sulking but changed. He walks over, eyes low at first, then meets her gaze. I was out of line, he says. Earlier, I didn't know. Ruthie tilts her head. You thought I was weak. He nods. And now I know better. She studies him, not judging, just seeing him clearly. Then we're good, she says. He nods again. I was just used to being the best in the room. Being the best, she replies, ain't the same as being the strongest. Around them, the class gathers not on purpose, but organically. Students drift closer, forming a quiet half circle. The moment has pulled them in. A girl near the back asks, when did you start training? Ruthie leans back slightly. Okinawa, 1982. My teacher was a man who said very little, but if you blinked, you were already on the floor. Brianna smiles wide. That explains it. Marco rubs the back of his neck visibly, trying to figure out how to proceed. You ever think about teaching? Ruthie laughs under her breath. I didn't come here to teach. But if someone wanted to learn, she lifts her water bottle to her lips. Then I won't walk away. The silence that follows is different this time. It's not awkward. It's reverent. They're no longer seeing an old woman in sneakers. They're seeing someone they want to learn from. A quiet leader who never needed to raise her voice. Not everything stays buried forever. And sometimes what returns is exactly what the room was missing all along. The next drill is optional sparring. Marco claps his hands together, raising his voice to address the room. 2-minute rounds, light contact only. If you want in, step up. There's a subtle shift as students glance toward one another. A few are eager. Some take a seat content to watch. Phones are back out now, not for distraction, but to record. Everyone wants to capture whatever's about to happen. Caleb stands again, this time with more caution than cockiness. His body language isn't the same. It's tighter, less performative. Still, he walks toward the center mat, stretches his neck side to side, and cracks his knuckles. Anyone want to go? He calls out quieter than before. No one moves. Not right away. Then Ruthie stands. She moves slowly, not because she's unsure, but because there's no need to rush. Her presence alone turns heads now. The borrowed gloves dangle from her hands as she approaches the center. She stops a few paces from Caleb, locking eyes with him. You sure? He asks, not taunting this time. She nods, wrapping the Velcro on the gloves without breaking her gaze. I don't expect you to take it easy. Marco steps between them, more serious now. Same rules, light contact. I'm watching. No full force, no showing off. Caleb offers a quick, got it, while Ruthie just tightens her last glove strap and steps into position. They tap gloves. Ruthie barely touches his hand. Begin, Marco calls. Caleb circles her, staying light on his feet. This time there's no teasing. He's focused, watching for any sign of motion. He throws a few feints, a jab here, a low kick there, testing the water. Ruthie barely moves, just slight pivots her stance firm, her gaze fixed not on his hands but on his chest. First jab comes in quick and sharp. She leans back just enough. Clean dodge. He throws a low kick. She turns her hip, steps outside of it, and resets. The students watching are holding their breath. Caleb steps in with a fast combo, left-right, then a flashy spin. And just as he completes the turn, Ruthie moves. A single pivot. A slip. Her right hand slides forward and lands square in the center of his chest. Not hard, but direct, deliberate. Caleb stumbles backward, his balance caught off guard. A quiet gasp ripples through the room. He tries to smile it off, but the flush in his face betrays him. He moves in again, faster now, harder. His jab is sharp, more aggressive. Ruthie parries it gently, turns her shoulder in, and taps his arm with an elbow, redirecting him. Then steps forward, not to strike, but to sweep his leg again. This time she stops short. She lets him stay standing. The restraint is louder than any move she could have thrown. Caleb is breathing harder now. The weight of the moment is hitting him more than any punch would. He steps in again, this time with too much force. She ducks under the wild swing and shifts behind him, just a smooth reposition. When he turns, she's already back in stance. Waiting, not attacking, just ready. Caleb exhales sharply. Come on. You scared now? She doesn't reply. He charges. Bad decision. She sidesteps effortlessly, hooks her foot around his ankle, and with a soft press from her shoulder, he's on the mat again. Thud. The gym goes still. It's not a painful fall, but it's enough. Enough to draw out the truth. He's been outclassed. Marco calls time. Caleb blinks up at the ceiling, the room's fluorescent lights framing Ruthie's silhouette above him. He's not injured, just quiet. His breath steadies. The fight is over and something deeper has landed. Ruthie pulls off her gloves and hands them to Marco. Appreciate the workout, she says. She turns walking back to her bench like nothing just happened. But every eye in the room follows her. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you earn when no one expects you to. Brianna walks up as Ruthie sits, her voice soft. How'd you stay so calm when he charged like that? Ruthie doesn't pause. Because I've already been through worse. She continues not to boast, but to explain. I've worked overnight ER shifts in hospitals where the real fight wasn't in the ring. It was keeping someone breathing on a cold table at 3 a.m. I've been yelled at, cornered, ignored. I've watched men twice his size fall apart in moments of panic. That boy's energy. She waves her hand lightly. That was just noise. Brianna nods, eyes wide. Another student sidles up, pretending to tie his shoe, but really just listening. Then another and another. Marco walks over again, this time with no doubt in his posture. Would you consider running a special session once a month, real-world training? Real talk. A few students chime in. I'd sign up for that. Me too. Ruthie doesn't answer immediately. She looks at her palms, calloused, worn strong, then across the room at Caleb, who's now seated quietly, not sulking, not speaking, just present, listening. I didn't come here to teach, she says slowly, but I won't walk away if someone's ready to learn. And for the first time that night, a murmur of laughter rises, genuine, respectful. Even Caleb cracks a smile. But not everything stays buried forever. And sometimes what rises teaches everyone how to stand taller. The gym begins to clear, but no one rushes to leave. That's unusual. On most nights, students race to the locker rooms, check their phones, joke about the drills. Tonight, they linger, hovering near benches, leaning against the wall, gathering in small circles. Not one of them wants to be the first to walk out and miss whatever else Ruthie Bell might say. She's back by her silver gym bag, slowly rolling the sleeves of her windbreaker back down, one arm at a time. Her movements aren't rushed. In fact, they feel intentional, like each breath, each small adjustment is part of the rhythm she never lost. Caleb approaches again, this time with something different in his face. No embarrassment, no sarcasm, just the quiet posture of someone who's learning how to listen. You ever fight professionally, he asks. She leans against the wall beside her bag, head tilted. No, she says. Came close once, back in '91 down in San Diego. Local league. He nods slowly. Why didn't you? My husband got sick. Harold. She glances at the floor. Vietnam vet. He was my sparring partner before my knees started popping every time I bent him. A faint smile flickers. Made the best grits on this side of the Mississippi. Shanice, the Greenbelt girl, walks over too. Parkinson's right, she says gently, remembering the earlier mention. Ruthie nods. It hit him fast. I quit everything to take care of him. Days, nights, weekends, paid for treatments, working double shifts. When he passed, I didn't just lose him, I lost my rhythm, my reason to move. The students standing nearby are fully tuned in now. Not a single person checks their phone. A few sit on the floor, crisscrossed legs and wide eyes waiting. For 12 years, Ruthie continues, I didn't touch a mat. I'd wake up some mornings and I didn't recognize myself. I'd hear that little voice too, old girl. Nobody wants to see you huffing and puffing in grandma's shoes. Caleb looks down at her sneakers. But I showed up anyway, she says, because something in me said, you've got more fight left. Even if the only person you prove it to is yourself. Marco walks back in from the office, arms folded, expression unreadable. He doesn't interrupt. Ruthie turns to the small crowd now gathered near her. What I did tonight wasn't about proving anything. She says, her voice steady. It was about reminding myself that I've still got it, that dignity don't vanish with time, that strength can go quiet, but it doesn't disappear. The silence is full, not heavy, but solid, the kind that only truth creates. She looks directly at Caleb. You walk around with your chest out because you think confidence looks like being loud. But real strength, it's patient, it's quiet, it lets folks underestimate you. He nods slowly, deeply. He gets it now. She turns back to the group. Life don't always give you the belt when you've earned it. It don't hand you trophies for the nights you didn't quit. But those nights count. They count more than most folks will ever know. A car horn honks from the street. No one flinches. Marco finally speaks. You sure about that once-a-month class? Ruthie raises an eyebrow. Y'all still gonna talk behind my back? Laughter ripples, real laughter this time, warm and free. No, ma'am, Shanice says. Not again. Ruthie smiles, then I'll think about it. She picks up her bag, slings it over one shoulder, and walks toward the door. The group follows slowly, not close enough to crowd her, just near enough to be part of the moment. In the parking lot, the streetlights cast long shadows on the pavement. Ruthie stands beside her silver 2005 Buick, placing her bag gently in the trunk. Caleb stands nearby, shoulders soft. Miss Bell. She turns. Yeah, I'm real sorry I judged you. She nods. It'll happen again. Maybe not with me, but with someone else. Just promise me next time you'll catch yourself before your mouth opens. He smiles sheepishly. Yes, ma'am. She opens the driver's side door. Before stepping in, she looks back at the group. Remember, she says, you don't gotta be loud to be strong, and you don't have to be young to still matter. Then she drives off, taillights fading into the Georgia dusk. No one says anything. Not right away. A few kids lean against their parents' cars. Marco stands with arms crossed, gaze still following the empty spot where Ruthie's car used to be. Brianna sits on the curb. Shanice just whispers, wow. Because what they saw tonight wasn't just about a takedown on the mat. It was about quiet dignity. It was about showing up when you're overlooked, dismissed, counted out. It was about not needing to prove anything to anyone, but still being willing to remind them when the moment calls. And that reminder changed the room. That night, no one left unchanged. Not because Ruthie raised her voice, but because she didn't have to. She reminded them that the strongest people are the ones who've already been through storms you'll never see, who've already faced moments that weren't about belts or trophies, but about survival endurance, quiet grit. She reminded them that discipline doesn't always walk in wearing the loudest shoes, but sometimes walks in wearing grandma's sneakers and a scarf and still owns the floor. She reminded them that sometimes the strongest move you can make is showing up without applause, without cameras, without the need for anyone's approval. And in that gym on that Wednesday night, she didn't just earn their respect. She reminded them how to carry their own. End of story. Thanks for listening.